TCI Mustang 2 front end kit. About to go into this thing. Last weekend we tore out all the steering column came out, sway bar came out. Now we're about to pull the struts, pull off the control arms, cut these out, cut these out, make room for the new control arms and the coilovers up front, and buy us some space in the engine bay here. Off to it. Years worth of grind. Yep, weekend recap here. Everything's cut out now, rough cut. We'll clean it up a little bit more, but towers are out. You can see how much space we have now. Those supports that came across are out. All the brake linkage and brake lines are out. Sway bar is out. We had to drill most of these out. We tried grinding them, but the better bet was to just drill all these spot welds out and then take a chisel to them. So all that bracketry underneath, these bushing supports up here, those came out. Cut them first and then took out all the spot welds. But now you can see how much space we have, because those plates will come flat here. It'll all just be A-arms that come real low. So those Doug's headers will fit just fine. They don't have to contort or do anything weird. So looks pretty good. Lots of space going on in there now. But wanted to show where the progress was and how well it's starting to look. All right, another weekend wrap-up video. Didn't film a whole bunch just because we just started doing stuff, and this was kind of on the back burner. Oh, you can see the little cat paws on the fresh metal over here. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, let's see. We trimmed out all the remaining stuff here on the frame rail. We filled in all the holes. It looked all nasty before from when we were drilling out all those spot welds. So you can kind of see a little bit there. We filled all those in, ground them back down, cleaned it up. And then we had to widen this out a little bit. This will still get cleaned up more once we kind of finalize it all. It's still kind of just rough cut. We made sure that the panel fits in there all nicely. What we had to do was, let me take this off if I can. Inside here, once you cut this down and grind it down, ends up being separate. So that got welded together and then ground flush, so that this kind of like U-channel factory frame now is actually one piece with this here. Originally it was all spot welded through here, and it's kind of double sheeted all the way up, but now it's all one piece. Now for the TCI kit, you throw these plates on. They've got locating holes here and the factory holes, that one over there too. These fit in this channel here, these sandwich in there. We'll take measurements from all over the place when we're about to finalize this thing, but this will get welded here and then all the way around everywhere inside here. And then this basically kicks off the cross member installation.
Shit. It's smoking like
all right, another weekend wrap-up update. Let's see. Father-in-law got the freaking cross member all welded in now. That's squared up. Had to take measurements from bolt points up here, and then these hats were a separate piece that got welded in afterwards. And then the sway bar mounts, no welds on top. Oh, those welds are up underneath. I don't know if I'm showing it. It's hard with the lighting. And then we just mocked everything up, so all the painted parts, upper and lower control arms, the spindles, and the caliper mounts there. Everything's in just to make it a roller. There's on that side. All we have left to do to roll it out of here is I'm gonna bring up the steering rack. That way our wheels can be aligned, and then we'll get the wheels on it, and it'll be under its own weight. Then it'll be a bunch of prep work in here and a bunch of painting, disassembly, and then painting. All right, she is back. Brought her back down from my father-in-law's today after doing all the welding. She's under her own weight again. Everything's kind of just thrown in, so it was rolling, and we can load it on the trailer. But now everything's gonna get cleaned up. These will get cut better, like I've been talking about. Some of these holes I'll weld in. It'll get prepped up, cleaned. It's gonna have to all be disassembled again, but now that everything's welded in, the cross member, sway bar mounts, this whole engine bay is gonna get painted now. So she's a roller. More progress to come. Lovely. The assemble, disassemble, pre-assemble, mock-up, assemble game, and you always lose. It's unwinnable. I'll have to touch these up. I knew that was gonna happen, but I didn't want these to rust. I went ahead and painted them anyway. Now I have to pay for my sins. Oh well. For those of you guys about to roast me for wearing flip-flops to disassemble this stuff, I will have you know my big toe agrees with you. I'm just too stupid and lazy to give a shit. So, yep, I 100% agree with you guys. If you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. So as I'm disassembling this thing, I guess I'll point out a couple components or aspects of this kit that I guess make it so good. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have a ton of knowledge or experience with a ton of other Mustang 2 kits or these old cars in general. I've only had what I've had and experienced what I've experienced, but talking with a few guys and then my father-in-law as well, I guess one thing to point out is that see this lower A-arm, it's kind of angled back. It's made that way because what TCI did was they moved the cross member further towards the rear. I guess typical Mustang 2 kits, they're centered up and your A-arm would be just like the upper. See how it's symmetrical here? The lower would be the same because the cross member would be centered. What TCI did was they moved this whole cross member back. So you can see from this top down view that lower A-arm or control arm, whatever you want to call them, its mount points are shifted backwards. So that's why they raked it forward so that our ball joint wound up being in the right spot. But for those of you who might be watching this video to get some insight on the TCI kit for 60 to 65 Falcons, that's a feature that I think is worth pointing out. That cross member moves back so that you don't have engine alignment issues. You will have to get a specific rear sump oil pan, but it works with this kit and you won't have issues having to modify oil pans or anything. The rack, if you do power steering, and the cross member line up perfectly with the engine and essentially the oil pan. So while I'm here looking at this view disassembling this, I figured I'd point that out early on in the video so you guys can stay tuned if that's something that interests you. Shout out Home Depot microfiber towels. Get a roll of like way too many. for like 10 bucks, I think. Let's see where I can put this. Let's put one right there. Put this other dude over here. All right. That's not what I wanted to happen. Never is. Ah, double L, triple, quadruple, penta. Yeah. Okay, so the full install video started to run a little long, so we're going to chop this down. I'm going to end this segment right here, and then I'll just do probably like a part 2 and a part 3 for the entire install of the TCI Mustang 2 conversion. What I'm going to run through real quick right now is how this kit actually gets installed. So I know my coverage was kind of hit or miss. Got super busy doing it and then didn't film a whole ton. So actually step by step, what went in, where and how, I'm going to cover in the next couple minutes here. Okay. So after you cut everything out, the motor mounts that came out from the bottom, the bushings up front, the actual shock towers, I'm not going to run through those steps. They've got pictures. I mean, TCI does a good job really giving you the how-to. So after this gets cut out, down here is that split where this frame and this ends up being separated, so that gets welded through and then ground down to be flush. Okay, so they have the instructions here, kind of where and how, plasma cutter, however, whatever tools you have at your disposal. Then this bracing comes out. Okay, that's the inside. All right, so we'll look on the far side. That gets located in a pre-existing hole. Of course, I already welded it up so it's flush, but you can see it a little bit better on the driver's side. Right here, that hole is pre-existing. So you put that locating bolt through it, and then that gets you this inside plate. It's actually this L that gets it in its home. Okay, so you finalize that guy. Then the outside plate is the nut that comes through. So this piece here and this piece are separate. They're held together here, so it kind of squares it all up. Okay, this is talking about actually holding it, welding it. Once it's installed, there's these rosette welds right there. They're kind of all along this rim, or this corner. They end up getting covered up. But so then the whole box is welded on the outsides, right here, down, these rosettes, and then underneath, all the seams lock in this frame reinforcement. Okay, so this cross member is not in yet. These hats, these coilover hats, are not in yet. It's just these kind of the frame bracing. Alright, it says here, same thing, rosette welds, and then you weld at 360 degrees all the way around. Okay, so then your frame's reinforced. Kind of looks like that when it's still naked. Then you weld in the bottoms. So up underneath here, all the way around. Okay, so 3 separate pieces. You got the L, the outside plate and then the underside. That gets all welded 360 degrees. Okay, and then for the next step, locating where the cross member goes. All right, you do that. There's a pre-existing hole in the plate from TCI. You have to drill straight through there, out the other side. That ends up being a bolt through the frame with a spacer, or like a spacer plate. Okay, so again, cross member's not in there. You put that bolt with the spacer plate on it there on both sides, and then that tells you where to mount your cross member. So then you butt it up tight, just like in the picture here. Butt it up tight to that plate, and then it gets welded down the sides. This is still, that comes later, because again, this isn't on there yet. So down, up underneath, same thing on that side. Okay, so then your cross member's in. Okay, then you have to scribe from the front edge of this, of your cross member, straight up. Okay, now you're going to take a measurement on the hat. So they call it the control arm shock coil spring tower bracket. I just call it the hat, because to me it kind of looks like a hat. You measure in from the front edge. Okay, so this is the front of the vehicle, 3 1/16. Okay, and then you scribe the hat. So I guess what I said before was a little bit backwards. You scribe the hat, and then you line your scribe mark up with the front edge of your cross member. Same thing, both sides. That one's kind of worn off now. But 3 1/16 from the front edge to this front edge. So then you can kind of see with the spacer still in there, because you still have time to fix things if they warp and get jacked up. So everything's kind of just tacked in place. Your spacer, your cross member, then everything gets stitched together. So your hat goes all the way around. Your cross member is now tying all these things together. Everything's kind of overlapped. You've got your actual frame brace stitched up over onto the battery hat, coil over hat. These welds come around. This weld comes down here, everything all the way down. Just like over here. This comes over, down. This lower plate was already welded 360 like we talked about. Okay. Then after that, it's pretty much just cleanup welds. Those are all the structural ones. At that point, you can pull this nut out and pull the spacer out, and that can get welded up just like we did. It's not necessary anymore. Those locating holes can get welded up. Some pre-existing holes that we're not going to use going forward, just welded those up, cleaned those up. All the holes that we drilled for the spot welds, those got cleaned up. Then you got your sway bar brackets up here lined up. I think, let me run in the directions here. Okay, here we go. So right here, the sway bar bracket is mounted 11 1/4 inches from the front edge of the cross member to the center of the bracket. So we measured center of the bracket, and then 11 1/4 from here. Line those up, and then all those welds are on the underside, so you just can't see them from this angle. But that's how simple this is. It's not too many pieces. It's just a matter of getting those initial measurements right, which are pretty easy to do because you do it based off factory holes. Wanted to show you guys that before I moved on. I wanted to add this at the tail end of this video, that way you guys know. And then part 2 will be tearing it all back down again and getting this whole engine bay ready for paint and prep. Okay, cool.